Hi everyone, this is the Study Abroad Project. My name's Sam, and I'm working with Winston, Chance, and Ethan. So as a quick refresher, we're developing a mobile app for the Study Abroad office. They gave us a set of 30 schools that they wanted us to advertise. We're targeting incoming students and students that are leaving the university as well. And one of the things that we really needed to do was make it easy for the study abroad office once we leave to use it. So similarly with everyone's group, we've had some changes to our project due to COVID-19. The progress on our project has significantly slowed down since the last time that you saw us in February. This app has become less interactive than planned. We're not sure if we're going to be able to do like a fully functioning chat system. We're still deciding if we can get it fully in, but as of right now, this app is just having a lot of information in it, and it will allow the study abroad office to send out announcements. So as the current status of our project, we have completely combined our front end with the Zumo app integration. That was done in February, but as for the rest of the front end stuff, we have made significant progress. The UI for the UIO section is almost done. The UI for the international section, it's still in a work in progress, but we will get it done by the deadline. And the shared UI is done. As of 40 minutes ago, we finally got information back from the study abroad office. So we will be getting feedback sometime later this week, hopefully. And I'll give it to Winston to talk about the backend status.
Thanks. So, thank you. So for the backend status, we have implemented a backend through Azure SQL. We have a fully functional backend, and we, per our meeting with Study Abroad Office later this week, we're going to hand over the backend, transfer the SQL database in the backend to something that they own and they possess through Azure SQL. I believe they're going to have a domain account, and we'll move it that way. So we've completed our objectives in terms of the updating the web application and importing the data. As for RESTful APIs, we initially were going to build a RESTful API, and then we pivoted and decided to build a full admin portal. We did this because we realized that through Azure, it's actually really easy to build an admin portal as a web application, like a full-on website with secure authentication to the SQL database and so forth. And so my teammate on the back end will actually go give you a rundown of the admin portal later on in this presentation. The only thing that we're short on a little bit right now is the authentication. The admin portal, we had built Active Directory authentication so that university employees could log into the admin portal with their UW credentials. And then through Active Directory, they would be authenticated if they were in a distribution list. A certain email list would have access to the admin portal. So, for example, study abroad employees would just add each other to the list, and then they could go and make changes to the admin portal. We had that authentication, but we're running into some administrative issues in terms of with that build. So we reverted back one build. So we have it without the authentication currently. As we kind of troubleshoot those issues, but hopefully we plan on fixing that last deliverable before this time it's due. Otherwise, everything else is fully on track, and it's just like I said, that authentication. We're having some administrative issues with Azure AD and authenticating with the UW alias. So for the demo you're about to see, we reverted one build back. without the authentication. But that's kind of where we are in the back end. So
I'll be going over a demo of the app. This is a page that everyone starts out at, where you choose whether or not you're an incoming student or an outgoing student. So right now, the incoming page is almost done. We have something on every single section of this portion of the app. We just need to make a few changes. Like these photos were actually taken from uio.edu and they're very blurry, so we're going to have to swap them out for something else. We have a campus map that's working. You can zoom in on it and look around. And then we have a degrees offered page, which is linked to our backend. And once it loads, after you load it for the first time, it comes back faster. But first time is a little slow still. And it actually shows you all of the majors offered and whether or not it's offered for doctorate, master's, bachelor's, or something else. So for instance, computer sciences, bachelor's, master's, and doctorate. And going over to outgoing, we still have to fill in most of these pages, but we also have the Explore Your Options page linked to our backend for looking at where you can travel to and study. And you can click on any of these and it'll take you to the website online with more information on how to sign up or request advising for the specific programs. And now I'm going to pass it over to myself. I'm going to be talking about, sorry guys. All right, so the front end successes, our biggest success is that it's nearly complete with like all the UI is almost done, except for in the outgoing section. We still need to fill in a few of those pages. And our biggest roadblock was similar to last time. It's just getting the database to link with the front end has always been an issue because you have to make sure that everything is named the same thing. And a change that we saw was that just with the pandemic going on, we haven't been able to work on this as much, and we aren't going to have enough time to look towards stretch goals. Now I'm going to pass this on to Ethan to talk about the backend's successes, roadblocks, and changes.
Okay, so as far as the backend goes, one of the major things that we were able to succeed in doing was securing the addition of more tables into our database, and of course the deployment of our web portal, which was huge, and it was it ended up being really easy and intuitive to do. So, and it looks really nice. As far as roadblocks goes, Winston mentioned earlier that we did try to use UW's Active Directory for authentication on our web portal. It worked for me because I was an owner on it. I tried to add additional owners, but our big roadblock here is that like additional owners and additional people cannot access our portal, and we don't know why. So we're in the process of either trying to figure that out or formulate some sort of workaround. And I think once we get that figured out, then we should be well on our way. And then as far as just major changes since our last update is obviously our shiny new web portal designed for the folks in the study abroad office to edit the database, which I will be showing you in this next slide here. Okay, so yeah, here's just a couple of screenshots I took just to kind of be a placeholder here to show the state of our database rather than the little Excel table we had last time. So I'm going to go ahead and request control here. And then can you open up a web browser for me, Chance? Yeah. So this is actually our web portal. And we've got a table. This is a table with all of our information. We have it for our degree programs and our exchange programs. And we have yet to populate the announcements yet because we don't really have much working for that on the front end yet. But we also have your standard edit, details, and delete that come with the standard NVC type stuff. None of these, we do have the code working for our controller methods here. For the time being, they will stay commented out until we get some sort of authentication going, just to keep them secure. But so they're not functional right now, but they do indeed work. And I think once we get the authentication fiasco figured out, this should end up working swimmingly. And then we also have a non-functioning yet page for folks to download our APK. Once we're done with it there, because we haven't really made any progress on getting approved with the Google Store, unless there's something that I haven't heard of yet. But I mean, this is a great workaround, I think. Just to have an APK there is fine for now, in my opinion. So, and with that, you mind getting us back to the PowerPoint here, Chance? Okay, and then I will pass it off to whoever's doing this slide.
I'll take it.
Okay.
So lessons learned. As you might expect, we learned a lot. Coronavirus is, pretty unpredictable. It's easy to kind of fall behind. We need to make sure that we stay on par with, where things are going. And communication over Teams, I think, is really useful. Making sure that we had those communication options available to us. And then the other thing was maintaining some backups. So we were able to build from our last checkpoint segment development and production environments. And that was really key because our production environment recently failed. We were able to revert. We have a development environment that's fine. So that was a really big learning experience to make sure we have those separate environments set up. Yeah, so the stretch goals, because the other thing is being willing to adapt. We were initially set on building a RESTful API in the back end, at least, and then we discovered that it'd be way easier we should prioritize for the UW broad office instead of making SQL queries to change the databases, build them some sort of admin portal. So I was able to get that done, and that I think really was helpful. We changed that instead of doing the RESTful APIs. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, and then so we're about 100% confident. We have a mobile application that works. We can export the APK for that mobile application. We have that website set up, and that is set up and hosted appropriately. We plan on transitioning that site as well as our backend web application to something owned by the Study Abroad office. And then our only two final things to work on will be some slight improvements on the front end, and on the back end, just to update our security for reading and writing. As Ethan touched on, you can read, write, edit. All the CRUD operations are supported by our portal, but currently the delete and edit options are unsupported because we don't have authentication. They're just commented out. The code is commented out. So a slight fix would be to add authentication and then rebuild. But besides that and the minor front end stuff, we've completed our minimum viable product. So that is that.